Hello everybody, Wade Horvath, healthcoachwade.com. What I want to talk about today is the number one strategy I utilize to lose weight and to get my health back in control. That is intermittent fasting. If you haven't heard about that, some people are calling it a reduced feeding window. It's basically shortening the window that you eat every day. Instead of waking up and eating breakfast, then eating until 8, 9 o'clock at night. That could be a 14-hour time period every day that you're eating. You reduce that. You reduce it to at least 10 hours a day. 10 hours is going to get you to a basic health level if you reduce your feeding window to that. To reduce it to 8 hours and then to 6 hours like I have, that's when you start to get some more profound weight loss. I lost 70 pounds in a 9-month time frame, utilizing primarily intermittent fasting. In addition to a keto diet and lower sugar, lower carbs. So intermittent fasting, not only for weight loss, but like I said, for health reasons. The reason why is you have to understand how the body works and how the human species was designed, how God designed us, or how we evolved to operate. And that was to not eat all the time. Not until the last 40 years or so have we had such an abundance of food and availability. Back in the day, 7-Eleven used to stand for open 7 days a week, 11 hours a day. It wasn't open 24 hours. Now everything's open 24 hours. We can get food whenever we want to, conveniently, and that's really a problem. On top of that, the food industries have been propagating this myth, which is absolutely scientifically proven false, that we have to eat every few hours in order to maintain our metabolism. And they make it sound like it's our fault that we're overweight. But they're out there marketing their food and saying you got to eat more, you got to exercise more, you got to eat more frequently. That is not true at all. That is absolutely false. If you're going to lose weight, if you're going to get healthy, you have to reduce your feeding window. Like I said, I started with a 10-hour feeding window and then went down to 8 and now at 6. And I lost that 70 pounds in 9 months, and I've maintained that weight for 2 years now. So it works great, and I don't feel hungry. I eat some breakfast sometimes when I feel like it, when my body feels like it needs some extra energy. When I do that, I eat primarily fats and protein like bacon and eggs. So let me explain a little bit about how the body works and how insulin works, especially for those of you who are concerned about diabetes, which is running rampant. There's studies that say that over 50% of the people that are over 40 are pre-diabetic, somewhere in that range. It's alarming. So the way we get there is carbs. Whenever we eat carbs, it spikes insulin in our body. Insulin is the hormone that's secreted by the pancreas. And the reason for that is we eat carbs, and those carbs go into our digestive system, and it gets turned into glycogen into our bloodstream. And the pancreas monitors the bloodstream and says, if it gets over a certain percentage of glycogen in our bloodstream, certain amount, it's toxic to us and can kill us. So it's very important that we do have insulin to reduce that blood sugar, or else bad things will happen to us. So unless you're type 1 diabetes, which is when your pancreas doesn't make enough insulin, and you have to have exogenous insulin injected into you, unless you have that, you have to monitor carbs in order to reduce your insulin in your system. So essentially, you eat, food goes in your body, you start to digest it, that glucose, those carbs go into your bloodstream. Even excess protein gets put in your bloodstream as glucose, and that spikes insulin. Insulin tells the cells in the body to store the extra glycogen. So when your cells get an insulin signal, then they start storing. They store fat. Your fat cells store fat. Your muscle cells will store the glycogen in the muscles, and then after time, if you live in an environment where you're eating every few hours and your insulin is high all the time, over time that you're going to develop insulin resistance, and that's a precursor, and it's called pre-diabetes. Sorry about that. Pre-diabetes, you'll develop that over time. It takes years, maybe decades to develop that, but it's from constant carb intake, which we're not really designed to, as a species, to have. Really, if you think about it, up until 50 years ago or so, we ate fruit when it was in season. We ate fruit in the summer and in the early fall. That's when we ate the majority of our vegetables. Fruit contains sugar, and fruit is the fattening. It's to fatten us up. It's to help us get through the winter. So our bodies were designed to store this extra glycogen, extra in our system as fat, so we could get through periods of famine. Otherwise, our species would not have survived. But that's not true right now. In most of the cases around the world, we have an abundance of food. We have an overabundance. We eat too much. So we've got to reduce insulin. Every time insulin is spiked, like I said, it tells the cells to start storing energy. And the secondary thing it does is it turns off the body's ability to burn fat. Turns it off. So if you're eating every few hours, your insulin is high, you cannot burn fat. You're building up fat over time. Over the years, you're gaining a few pounds here and there. It adds up over the time. So it's about 10 to 12 hours after your last meal with carbohydrates that your insulin is low enough for your body to start burning fat for fuel. So most of us are insulin resistant at this point, and we're not burning fat for fuel. So we have all this extra fat and we're not burning it. So if you wake up at breakfast, you go to sleep at like 10 p.m., but you might eat your last meal and be done by 7 or 8 o'clock at night. You wake up, you have breakfast, it's about 12 hours later. At that point, you haven't switched over to fat burning mode and you haven't burned off any of your fat stores. So you go right back into spiking insulin and burning carbs all day long, over and over. So what you have to do, if you can delay that, if you skip breakfast. Breakfast, by the word definition, is breaking your fast. You're supposed to be able to fast. So if you increase that fasting by even 4 hours up until 10 a.m. or something like that, then you're going to be burning fat for a little bit of time. Like I said, in my case, my sweet window is about 6 hours a day that I eat. Typically, I'm not dogmatic about it. Some days I'll eat in bigger windows depending on my social situations. We all have work, we all have social situations that we have to accommodate. And so that's what I do. It's called intermittent fasting. It's a way for your body to burn fat for fuel, burn off your extra fat stores, and it reduces your insulin sensitivity. So that's the number one tool to utilize to get healthy and to lose weight. If you have any other questions about that, please contact me. You can email me at healthcoachwade@gmail.com or go to healthcoachwade.com and click on some of the information there and learn more, or schedule a free consult with me. Look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.